Hi, I'm Nin, and today we've got a really nice vinyasa class for you. The focus of this class is really on keeping the flow of movement going alongside the breath. With that said, let's begin. And we're actually going to start in mountain pose today. Come to the top of your mat, feet hip width apart, and just balance here and find your center. Inhale with the arms above you, and exhale, coming into forward fold. Inhaling, half fold, hands on your thighs or your shins. Exhale, down to the ground, plant the palms onto the earth, supporting you, step back, feet hip width apart into plank. Hold it here, engage the navel, bend the elbows in, come down into vinyasa, and lift up into cobra pose, pressing down with your thighs, bending through the lower spine. Just shoulders away from the ears, tucking the toes under and back into downward facing dog. So bringing your seated area up to the sky, pedaling with your feet out behind you. Just take a few breaths here, and then look and walk to the front of your mat so your feet are in between your palms. Hang your head down, just take the pressure off your lower spine, bend your knees if you need to. Inhale, half fold, hands on your thighs. Exhale, palms down to the ground. Take an inhale, lifting all the way up into mountain pose. Palms up beside you. And exhale, bring them down. Inhale again, palms up to the sky. Exhale, bringing the hands down to the ground, beside your feet. Inhale, forward fold. Half fold, back straight. Exhale, back down to the floor. Stepping back with your feet into plank. Knees down if you need to support yourself. And then bringing your chest to the ground, Chaturanga Dandasana, chest, chin, and then lift up into cobra. Just pressing down through your lower legs and upper legs. Exhale, tucking the toes under, bring the seated area back to the heels and go into downward facing dog. Just pedal here slightly and then step or hop to the front of your mat. Bend over here. Inhale, half fold, hands on your thighs. Exhale, palms to the ground. Lift them up to the sky. Inhale, exhale, palms down beside you. Just find your center here again. Before we take another inhale, palms up. Exhale, down to the ground. Straight back, half fold. Exhale, palms down to the floor. Stepping back into plank. Chaturanga Dandasana, bending your elbows slightly. Chest, chin, forehead to the ground. Press up into cobra. Tucking the toes under, bringing the seated area back, bringing the knees up into downward facing dog. Just pedal out here. Step forward with your right foot between your palms. Knees should be flexed above the ankle, and then slightly twist your left foot so that it's facing outwards. Torso to the front of your mat. Inhale with the palms, warrior one, and just press down through the hips and don't have your shoulders right next to your ears. Just bring them down. Exhale, palms down to the ground, step back into downward facing dog. Do the same on the other side. Step forward with your left foot, stacking your ankle above your knees and making sure that your right foot can support you, slightly spin it outwards, and then coming up with the torso, bringing your palms up to the sky, and make sure again your knee is about 90 degrees above your ankle. Exhale down to the ground, bringing the palms down, step back with your left foot, pedal it out. Now walk to the front of your mat so the palms and feet align. Inhale, half fold, hands on your thighs. Straighten the back as though there's a drinks tray on the back. Exhale down to the ground. Bend your knees if you need to. And then for here, we're just going to lift up into a pose that we call chair pose. So we tuck our tailbone in. We keep our knees bent. We engage our navel and we reach up with our palms so that they're facing parallel to one another. And again, we're just hovering here. And then we stand up straight into mountain. And then we exhale with our palms down to the ground. Step back into plank. Bringing our torso into the ground, elbows in. Take a vinyasa. Tucking the feet under. Bringing the seated area back to the heels, downward facing dog. Step forward with the right foot. Spin out the left leg slightly, pressing up into warrior two. Now here we flex the right knee above the ankle again. We face parallel to the mat, bringing our arms parallel to the floor and making sure that you're engaging your core here. You want to be leaning forward and hunching forward with your elbows. Bending out, and again your knees should be stacked above your ankle. Shoulder blades back, spine straight. And from here we're just going to lower our right forearm onto our right knee and reach out into extended side angle pose. Now you should ideally have the left hand facing up, so it's in a diagonal line towards the back of your left foot. Exhale, bringing the palms up, so they're again in warrior two. And then straighten the right leg and come down into triangle pose by bringing your right arm, right hand down to your shin, left arm looking up, and then looking up towards your left hand, if that's available to you. If not, just stay looking forward. Now, with care, I want you to bring your right hand up, bending your right knee back into warrior two briefly, before we cartwheel our arms down to the floor, either side of our right foot, and step back into downward facing dog. From here, I want you to do exactly the same on the other side. So come forward, or step forward with your left foot, and spin out your right foot slightly. Flexing that left knee again, cartwheeling your arms up, warrior two. So you see how my shoulder blades are coming back. I'm just making sure that I'm aligned here and the arms are parallel to the ground. Crown of your head should be pulling up towards the ceiling. Exhale, we're going to bring our left forearm down to our left leg and stretch through with our right arm. So our right arm should really be forming a straight line down to the right heel. Exhale, bringing the palms parallel to the mat, up into warrior two again briefly. Making sure the shoulders aren't hunched. Straightening the left leg and then coming down into triangle pose by bringing your left arm down to the shin. And options available, you can look up to your right hand if that's available. Look forward. And if you want to, you can come down even further. to the mat. Inhale, coming back up into Warrior Two pose. And now with care and patience, cartwheeling your arms down to the floor, your palms down. And we're just going to step back with our left foot. We're going to come down into plank. So bending the elbows, please keep your knees on the floor if you need to. Just going to hover here for 5 seconds before coming back into downward facing dog. Back into downward facing dog here. Pedaling it out. And now we're going to step to the front of the mat, back up into mountain pose, bringing your feet in between your palms, lifting up, hands on your shins to half fold, palms on the ground again, bending your knees, back up slowly, vertebra by vertebra, into mountain pose. And then from here, we're going to step out to the side of our mat so that our feet are facing front onwards. We're going to put our hands on our hips and slowly lift up with the waist and bend forward slightly and slowly until we reach about halfway. And then this is enough, that's fine. If you can go further, just make sure that you keep your legs straight and your back straight. If you can go further, bring your palms to the ground and tuck your head down. You should feel a lovely stretch on the hamstrings here. If you can, you might be able to turn your hands so that they're facing the opposite direction and just walk them back. And get your head even lower on the mat. And from here, we're now just going to press up on our palms and interlace the hands behind us and straighten the arms. And again, we're just going to stretch, letting gravity do its stuff and bring your head down to the floor. Bring your interlaced hands down. Taking 3 more inhales and exhales here. Unravel the fingers, bringing them back down to the mat. That's brilliant. And then pushing up with your palms. Slowly, vertebra by vertebra again. Don't give yourself a head rush and collapse. And then come to the front of the mat and just find your center again. And from here, we're going to do a pose that we call tree pose. It's a bit of balancing. So I'm just going to come around to face you so that you can see me. Now what we want to do on the first leg is whatever leg we want to go, we'll go with the right leg lifting up, left leg planted down. So make sure you're really planting your left foot down to the ground, all 4 corners, don't sort of wobble, and slowly bring your right foot up to meet the left ankle and keep your spine straight. And this might be enough for you. You might be able to lift your right leg a bit further up, but just don't sort of wobble your hips here, bend them, just keep your spine straight. And if it's possible, you might even be able to bring your right leg up a bit further, but you might want to, again, keep your leg down depending on what's there for you today. And another option, you can bring your arms to the side, palms together, or you can bring your arms out so that you're doing a slight tree pose. You look like a tree. I'm just going to balance here for a few breaths. Stare at a focal point in front of you. You might even need a wall if that's available. And from here, just going to bring our palms to the side, bringing our right leg down, just pedaling out slightly to recenter. And then we're going to bring our right foot across our left thigh, like this, so that the shin meets the thigh, and we're going to stand in a praying position. And if it's again something that's possible today, tuck your tailbone in and begin to bend down slightly. This is seated pigeon, and we'll just take a few breaths here, flexing the right foot. Closing your eyes if you want to, but that makes it a bit harder. And exhale, bringing the feet down. We're going to do that same thing on the left hand side, a bit of a balancing pose. So we'll just swap round, grounding our right foot, keeping all four corners there, and bringing our left foot up to our ankle, if that's what we need, and bending our left knee. Keeping the spine straight, and again, bringing it up to whatever suits you today. You might even want to use a wall, just to get yourself stable, and then might be able to bring your left foot up a bit higher. Then you might even be able to let go, who knows. But whatever's comfortable, just coming into a balancing pose. Taking a few breaths here, and then releasing the left foot down. And just center yourself before we come into seated pigeon again. So for this, we'll just do the opposite. So we cross our left leg over our right thigh. And again, if you need a wall, fine. It might be totally different on one side than it is the other. So we're just standing like this. And bring our arms into prayer position. Now again, if it's available, tuck your tailbone in and bend into your right leg. And just stare at a focus point for a few seconds. And exhale, bringing ourselves back to center. Brilliant. From here, you'll be at the front of your mat. So what you want to do is stand up into mountain pose, inhaling, exhaling down to the ground, bending your knees if you need to. Half fold, hands on your shins, exhale, palms to the ground, into plank position, stepping back, feet hip width apart, engaging your navel, bending your elbows into your ribs, belly, chin, forehead. Exhale, up into cobra, pushing down into the palms, tucking the feet under, going back with your seated area into downward facing dog. Just pedal here slightly for 1 or 2 seconds, and then come forward with your right foot in between your palms. And from here, lower your left knee down. Again, we want that famous 90-degree angle. Just get ourselves balanced. And then you might be able to bend your left knee, cartwheel your right arm round, and grab on to your left foot and look behind you. Exhale, letting go of the left foot. And then from here we just bring our hips back in line so they're squared and facing the front of the mat. And then we're just going to push back in to our hips. And our right foot should be plantar flexed, so it should be firstly on the ground, just facing forward, and you feel a nice stretch to your hamstrings. Again, if you need to bend your knee, that's fine. And then dorsiflex your right toes. Exhale, pushing back into the right foot, palms each side of you, tucking the left foot down. Step back into downward facing dog. Pedal it out before we step forward with our left foot onto the mat in between our palms and lower the right knee. Untucking the right foot. And now, as we did before, but with the opposite arm, we're going to bring our left arm round and grab our right foot. And just look out across the left shoulder. Just taking a few breaths here. And exhale, let go of the leg. Palms either side of your left foot. And just bringing the hips into a square position. And then pushing back into your hips and straightening out the left leg into half split. First of all, we're going to have our feet on the ground, called plantar flex, planted into the ground. And then dorsiflexed. So bringing the left foot up slightly. And then just push into the hips, keep that hamstring stretched and straight. Just taking a few breaths here. And then stepping into our left foot, coming back into a lunge, and then step back into downward facing dog. Pedaling it out, just take a few breaths here. And then we're going to come into hero pose. So we're kneeling on the floor now. And then we'll just take our feet out beside the hips. And then this might be as far as you can go, and just put your hands behind your back onto the mat. Stage 2, you might be able to bring your hands backwards. And then open your chest, tipping your head back. And then lift up with your chest. Exhale, bringing your seated area back to the mat and pushing up, back into hero pose. From here, putting your palms on the ground, you're just going to lay forward onto your belly. Lie forward, I keep getting that wrong. Lie onto your belly. And from here, try and grab on right foot first or left foot, and then grab onto the other leg or foot and just stay here with your hands in bow pose. And if you want to, just press up to the sky, so pressing down through the hips and the pelvis, bending your back. Be careful here if you've got any spinal injuries, just stay flat on the ground. And exhale, bringing your palms down to the mat and your feet down. From here, just going to come up into a kneeling position. And firstly, we're going to twist to the right, bringing our palms, the right hand behind the right foot. And then an inhale, bringing the palms up to the sky, and then we're going to kneel on the other side and twist to the other side, looking over your left shoulder. Coming back to center, bringing your palms up to the sky. Just exhale. And then we're going to just bring ourselves to the mat, forward fold on our knees. Briefly here. Just stretching out the spine, warming it up. And exhale, sitting up straight. And then we're going to come into a one-legged butterfly. So to do this, bringing your feet out either side of you, sit on a block if that helps. Keep your spine straight. And from here, you may need to bend your knee. What we're going to do is slowly walk down to our right leg and reach for our right foot. Slowly coming up into center. We're now going to come across to the other side. You guessed it, onto the left leg. And this is a variation of a pose they're called dragonfly pose in yoga. And just feeling a nice stretch through the hamstrings. And then we're going to come up into a seated position, and now we're going to come into butterfly pose. So bringing the soles of the feet together and bringing the knees out to the side. This is really good. You want to stretch the hips so your knees fall to the ground and you sit up straight. From here, just release and bring your legs out in front of you. Inhaling up to the sky and then folding and forward in front of you. Feeling a lovely stretch there down the lower spine. And inhale, coming up to seated. And slowly bend your knees, and vertebra by vertebra I want you to come down to the mat and lie still here. Come into a pose called happy baby pose. This is when you bring your knees into your chest. You might want to just rock them side to side before you bring your feet up to the sky and grab hold of your feet from either side with your hands and bring your knees into your armpits. And just rock side to side. You might even grab your feet on the outside and straighten your legs if you can. If not, just come into happy baby pose. And then exhale, release your feet, bringing your toes to the floor. Then maybe crossing your right leg over your left, bringing your hips over to the right hand side, and drop your knees to the left and look to your right, and have your arms up in a cactus style position. Bringing your legs up to center, unraveling them, and then do the same on the other side, crossing the left leg over the right, bringing them down to the floor on the right hand side, and then look to the left, over the left shoulder with your head. And then bringing your knees up to the surface, unraveling your legs as we go into the final Shavasana pose. Just resting here mindfully for a few seconds. Noticing how your body now feels, how your spine and hamstrings feel nice and stretched, and your body feels warm and energized. Know that whatever comes your way today, you can conquer it. And all those poses that we did to balance, remember those and the feeling of power and strength that they gave you. Taking a final inhale. You're going to roll over slightly to the side, bringing our knees up and over to the side to roll over. Pushing up through our palms, crossing the legs, sitting back into easy pose, taking an inhale, palms up to the sky, and exhale, down to the knees. And we bow and say Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me in my Vinyasa Flow class today. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you like these classes, please subscribe to my YouTube channel or click like and offer any comments. I would love to hear from you. Have a great day. Thank you.